I got that animal ambition. I got that animal ambition. I got that.
What's up, y'all? Smoak, what's good? So in this video, I'm gonna be watching Cultaholic Wrestling on 9 exact moments WWE booking stopped making sense. Now, and based on the very beginning of the video, it's probably gonna talk about from this year, 2025, the current product. Now, I've been hearing a lot of complaint about the booking of AAA, of freaking like storylines not going anywhere, poor character development, long-term storytelling that's end up being told, that's just like way too long for its own good, and think that haven't even happened yet. They have people question whether it's gonna happen or not. Freaking like the Austin Theory thing, though he basically disappeared on television as of right now. Yeah, I haven't been watching for like the past months, the past months and a half or whatever. I'm just now getting back onto today's product because I've just been so busy with work and stuff like that, and I just didn't feel like finding time to watch TV. But with me getting back into this sphere, freaking I'm better off continue watching wrestling week in and week out as I do my reacting videos and so on. So yeah, there's been a lot of heat, but even so, I've still been seeing stuff on Twitter, right? Twitter is like the social media platform to see highlights or what's going on in hindsight within the realm of the WWE and even AEW, right, for a bit, but it's more talks on WWE than AEW. There's been a lot of heat on Triple H. Me personally, I don't think it's Triple H alone. I think it's TKO or whoever else that is above Triple H that's influencing these decisions from a booking standpoint because of business reasons or whatnot. Yeah, bottom line, I don't think Triple H is at fault on his own. He's the figurehead of the WWE. I know Nick Khan is the president. I don't know if Nick Khan is saying his input within these storylines for whatever reason, or somebody else above Tony Khan. But once upon a time, WWE was on fire, and that was really due to the hype of Cody Rhodes finishing the story, whatever the hell that means, right? To be Roman Reigns, to become the WWE champion on the road to WrestleMania 40, with The Rock coming in, right? Even though it was a cluster in the beginning, or that whole storyline with The Rock facing Roman Reigns, and then eventually being a tag team match with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, etc. Freaking, it was still, they made it work, and it was great. Only for the whole thing to fall apart, because it looked like it was gonna be a story involving The Rock with Cody Rhodes, especially recently back in February of this year with John Cena turning heel, and then it looked like he was having involvement in WrestleMania when John Cena faced Cody Rhodes, because at that point it seemed like John Cena was like a lackey of sort to The Rock, only for The Rock to not show up, and then instead Travis Scott, who was involved in that angle for some reason, right? Freaking Travis Scott, the rapper, came in when his music played and made his way to the ring at WrestleMania 41 at the main event, freaking with John Cena assisting John Cena against Cody Rhodes. Many speculated thought The Rock was to come out as well, only to not show up, and he haven't been on show, and he haven't been on TV since in the WWE realm since John Cena turned heel back in February, where eventually John Cena went back from a heel to a babyface, cutting his promo. I think he kind of hit on The Rock in that promo, freaking, and then now he's back being a face. So let's dive right in and see what he got to say.
2005 has been a funny old year for WWE. There's always going to be a lull eventually due to how on fire they were in 2023 and 2024. That doesn't make it any more fun when we do have a little bit of a drop-off. As impossible as it is, you want the product, as they say, to be great all the time. I will still always say that I am glad WWE turned John Cena heel, because if we stop taking risks, we're doomed. But that did sort of create a spiral of what-ifs as creative tried to get things back on track. As we are headed towards the end of the year, though, let's go through some of these and figure out what's next for WWE. Probably should have said that with a little bit more gravitas. Number 9, no Rock at WrestleMania. So I love The Rock in wrestling, not Rock and wrestling, which was a very different thing. He's such a big star, the world stops when he returns to Raw and SmackDown, and that's what we need from time to time. When it was announced that he would chat to Cody Rhodes on that one Friday night a few months ago, I pulled my car over to watch on the way back from one of my own wrestling matches. I had to know. believe they call that power. Of course, the truth is WrestleMania 41's main event would just have been had he walked down the aisle. The coming together of Rocky and John Cena at the Elimination Chamber had been awesome, and now we wanted a follow-up with very simple folk. The bigger issue, however, was Travis Scott came out instead, and that's why that entrance music got the pop it did. We all thought it was the final boss, meant there was an extra level of disappointment. It also went all the way back to WrestleMania 40 when the People's Champion had been the one to pin Cody Rhodes in that tag match. Although look, WrestleMania Saudi is coming soon. I do not think that one is totally dead. Things just would have been better had Dwayne Johnson been there to stand side by side with John when he won the 17 world title. But hey ho, he didn't. And I have a future to think about, so I'm not going to get overly worried about the past. We're still most definitely with
This guy's a clown. But no, I mean, for and it was the build up too. Like freaking, because last time, so like after when Cody won the championship at WrestleMania 40, the next night on Raw, the Rock came out before he went on his long hiatus. He came out. They talked. He said something like, "You hurt me, Cody," something like that, and then whatever, freaking, and he came back. I think that was his next appearance, the January of next year. It was the debut of Raw on Netflix, and then now instead of being like angry towards Cody or whatever, freaking, he was like being friendly to Cody, like, "Oh yeah, we had a shot of tequila back there," blah blah blah. I said, okay, what the hell is happening, right? But the whole time he was like trying to soften him up for that, for that Cody Rhodes could join the dark side, right, or whatever. So, but yeah, the thing just didn't come to fruition. The whole thing is just bizarre. There must have been some issue creatively backstage. Okay, it was just wild. I don't know, cause The Rock came in there and he trying to, take over everything or whatever. Freaking, and that has been his MO publicly. Freaking, he did the same thing with the DCEU. He tried to make the universe surrounding Black Adam, the character that he played, but the movie flopped, and then the whole thing flopped. It's the XFL. He bought the XFL. I think it was a lawsuit, whatever it was. He gained the XFL. They didn't flourish, and then they merged with another football league, and now I think it's called the UEFL. I don't remember, but yeah, they merged with somebody else. I don't know how bad the XFL flopped under his watch, but yeah, he see this glimpse of power. He would just want to take even Fast and the Furious, right? Freaking, he had an issue with Vin Diesel. Freaking, I don't know what the dispute was. I don't know. It had been publicly acknowledged. I guess he wanted to do something more with the Hobb character, but freaking, it didn't pan out the way The Rock wanted to. Hence why he haven't been in the movie up until the last part. I think it was the 10th part, if I'm not mistaken, or 9. Freaking whatever the last Fast and the Furious movie was. He made a cameo at the end, hinting at not hinting, but showing Hobbs' return, because they had a spin-off movie of the franchise, Hobbs and Shaw. So that was another example of The Rock trying to do his own thing. Freaking gain control of his character and make it bigger than it is. And that movie flopped. Just like Black Adam afterwards. That's freaking this storyline. It flopped because I don't know why. Maybe it showed up, but I'm sure there was some crazy discussion in the back that led to the downfall.
There wasn't a peep after this, but we all know the deal. The Rock is likely going to get nominated for an Oscar after his portrayal of Mark Kerr in The Smashing Machine. So I get it. I mean, it should have been the other way around. Find me somebody who's going to say no to that.
Yeah.
The Rock wants Cody's soul. So we just talked about this, and I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm sorry, I loved it. It was totally nuts and bizarre, and when you do watch wrestling every single week, turns out I need a little bit of insanity here and there. A megastar telling me he was about to go Shang Tsung on the WWE Champion's ass. Even better, Cody decided he would have to think about this, like he didn't realize he was in a Bart Simpson situation, and yes, it led to the Elimination Chamber angle, and all of this was great. It also did come out of nowhere, and the reason it's hard to place now is because apparently this isn't what The Rock wanted. The behind-the-scenes gossip that we will take with a pinch of salt is that it was going to lead to a Rhodes heel turn.
Oh yeah.
H weighed in and said, no way, he is the mega babyface we've been looking for, and while the time will come eventually, let's just wait it out a bit. It meant we ended this SmackDown with not much clarity, and even after seeing heel, it was never really underlined why he chose to align with Rocky, because he wasn't there. We talked about it. In fact, apart from one veil aside,
like for real,
Dwayne Johnson once, which is crazy. I mean, he jumped in with him. So it didn't make for a good TV moment because everybody was talking about this, but there were just too many loose ends. One of the strengths of WWE in recent times has been that everything feels airtight. This didn't, and Travis Scott. Want to get that in there again. That could be the whole reason, to be honest. That guy. In fact, number 7, Travis Scott. Let's get deeper because I need answers. Because forget John Cena,
No
forget
cap.
Cody Rhodes or The Rock. This would be
And let's not forget this guy, cause his theme song, like his music is the theme song for Raw, right? And this guy, he was there on the debut of Monday Night Raw on Netflix, which The Rock was on, right? He didn't do a segment with The Rock. Matter of fact, he did a segment with Jey Uso, I believe it was. But he came out to the entrance like always, right? Ooh, so day one, ooh's what day one is, right? Freaking the fans is just yeeting with him like always and stuff like that. And then Travis Scott came out. Right, I think afterwards, matter of fact, I don't think they came in together. Afterwards, standing next to Jey Uso. Freaking, I think he was next to Jey Uso among the crowd. Cause I remember his theme song, or his song was playing. Because the song that was playing, I forgot the name of that song, but it's a his song. That is not the theme song for Raw. It was just his song playing. He showed up with a mark belt. I forgot what belt it was. I think it was that belt right there, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But he stood there. He had the shades on, looking cool. That man smoked a blunt, bro. Freaking, I'm not even gonna say on television, but on the streaming service of Netflix. He just stood there and smoked the blunt. It was crazy. He smoked the blunt, bro. In front of all, it was California, yeah, but you had all those people there. I mean, there's people that be like, oh, marijuana, right? That's how they act for whatever reason. So that was just weird. And then to come back like over a month later to do this angle with The Rock and John Cena, who, what the hell? Let's see what he's gonna say.
Really is the oddest one because what was his deal? Not one promo, not one match, not one nothing. He was at the Elimination Chamber because why not? Punctured Cody's eardrum when he slapped him too hard.
Yep.
Returned at WrestleMania to get murked.
Yep.
That was that.
Uh-huh.
He vanished. He basically helped.
And even so, bro, he's too skinny to be out there, man. Honestly, this man does not got a physique. What match was he going to work? And he's gonna go out there. He probably would have wrestled with a tank top and baggy baggy pants, bro. And with that tank top, you can see how skinny the dude is, bro. It was not going to work. You could be a fan, yeah, but doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense in this universe. It wouldn't make sense in another universe if everything else did pan out. He could have been that chicken shit heel, yeah, but I guess that would have worked. But as a performer in the ring, because I think they had him trained for a little bit at the performance center, from what I heard. But yeah, this guy, I guess he changed his mind. Said, "F this, I'm not doing this no more." Whatever. The hell? Yeah, it's cool, but it's like, are you in it for the long haul, bro? Look at Bad Bunny. I think he had like at least 2 matches, maybe 3, but I know definitely 2. I think one of them was a Battle Royal or Royal Rumble. The other one was against Damian Priest, in which he won in that street fight because it was in Puerto Rico, so why not? But I mean, yeah, and he was dedicated to the craft, Bad Bunny. He was training for at least 4 months at the Performance Center. The man pulled out the Canadian Destroyer. Travis Scott wasn't doing that. What the hell?
Cena win the WWE title too, so why didn't he do the same at Backlash or the rest? He just turned up for 2 shows and then went back to the Phantom Zone. If you take the, well, he's a celebrity out of it, it is some of the oddest booking for a long-ass while. What on earth was he trying to achieve?
Yeah, he was just a fan marking out. That's all that was.
Genuinely, too, I do not begrudge anybody coming in if they have a platform and they want to negotiate a deal.
Yeah.
But you do have to make sure it makes sense.
Yes.
John never really talked about him either, and it did hurt all of the above due to what we've discussed. People assumed if Scott was at WrestleMania, The Rock would be too.
Yes.
Meant to be a trio. Rumors also but didn't really want to train, which again meant to be a trio. Rumors also suggested Travis was meant to have a match but didn't really want to train, which again is his prerogative. But as a fan watching on, sheesh. This was pure 2 + 2 = potato.
Facts. Okay, so he didn't want to train. I thought he trained. Wow.
Just don't do it.
Yep.
6, nobody cares about Bayley,
Damn.
who is definitely having a nervous breakdown of sorts.
Yeah.
Now, I love what Bayley is doing because I just like Bayley.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah, I like
weird,
Bayley
but she does
too.
want to go full goofy wrestling for life. I am not going to get mad at it. I suppose split personality is the best way to describe what she is going through.
Yeah.
And of course, we saw this happen to her in video form. She was recording herself as she went a bit crazy, and we could even hear her inner thoughts. That was a bit weird, but wrestling, let's lead into it. When Lyra Valkyria and Adam Pearce were talking about this, however, Pearce didn't seem bothered at all. Poor Lyra essentially forgave Bells for costing her the Intercontinental title, as she had seen what was happening, but Adam, well, he's got last-minute tag team main events to book, damn it. His role, this was just one moment where it went bonkers. It also felt weird because the whole point of the idea is to sell it. Bayley has been through a lot in 2025. I mean, she was taken out of WrestleMania. Becky Lynch ruined her life. And when it all got too much, shrug emoji, somebody else can just deal with it. Come on, Adam. WWE was just so good with this sort of thing a year prior, it was a bit off to be so blasé about a major storyline. I mean, imagine if everyone was like, Bayley, please listen to us. Just sells the gimmick more. Instead, it felt like there were more important matters to attend to, like not booking the women's US title. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. 5, the Wyatt 6 basically do the same.
That Bayley
Which actually
storyline in
ties
particular.
Because the Wyatt sort of did the same
Wait,
thing.
what did it say?
The Wyatt 6 basically do the same. Which
Oh,
actually
yeah.
ties in here because the Wyatt sort of did the same thing. I just repeated the headline there. They were full on spooky wooky when they debuted and essentially killed everybody in the Raw Gorilla position. And man, did that work. They felt like they were going to be WWE's reckoning, whether you were heel or face. If you did bad things, the Wyatts were going to be on your ass. Then a year or so on, they were just a tag team. This also followed a massive absence from TV, which didn't help at all, and the fact Nikki Cross does nothing is bizarre. We just mentioned the US title picture. She'd be great in that. A proper force to fight. It took months after they came back for Uncle Howdy to start getting back to his mind games as well, so for ages it was just Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis as the tag team champions, as Eric Rowan ran distractions.
Yeah.
That is so WWE by the numbers, and do not do that with the Wyatts. They have to be the outlier, otherwise what's the point? We've talked about this before. If you don't sell fear, then there is no fear. Kind of felt like cheating to hold on to those belts wasn't necessarily representative of what the group was trying to do.
Yeah, true that, yep.
It was all a little bit after the fact. It was way better when they debuted, when it did just tail off, meaning we never got the answers to so many of those cryptic promos Bo Dallas was cutting. You know, the ones your soul's going to escape from your tuchus and climb up your nan. What the hell are you talking about? When you do that as well, I really do not know why we sort of hit stop with them. They had something for sure. Number 4, CM Punk versus John Cena. Now let's not pretend
Really?
that during John Cena's heel run, his best match was probably with CM Punk.
Yeah,
Those two
absolutely.
are just blood brothers when it comes to wrestling.
Yep.
I actually think they're incapable of having a bad match. Like they could be 92 years old and you'd still tune in to see what they were going to do. Of course, when
That's funny.
WWE decided to pull the trigger in 2025, we learned that it would be at the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view, where all of a sudden we got a meta storyline within a different storyline as we told a separate storyline. Because if you were a nerd
What?
fan, you knew about some of the tweets that Punk had made about heading out to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I suppose WWE thought there would be some backlash, so everybody kind of skirted around this by saying it without saying it, so it was kind of a part of the angle, but it also wasn't. Now, if you were Johnny just started
Wow.
watching wrestling, you were probably viewing this going, what the hell are they talking about?
I don't remember this, bro. And I was watching it too.
Given that John Cena was the heel as well, we all of a sudden played this like it was him bullying CM Punk to going, otherwise he wasn't going to get his shot.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
kind
okay.
of think that you just had to reference this or totally ignore it, not do some bizarre halfway house. Some people
Matter of
also
fact, I
had
didn't
problem
watch
when
all
John
of the
Cena
angle,
turned
yeah,
the tables
the
literally on
storyline.
CM Punk and did his own pipe bomb promo,
Yeah.
which of course was a nod from the one that Punk did in 2011.
Yeah.
I thought Johnny Boy was great there, but of course poor CM Punk had
He was great, yeah, but just him being as a heel though, to me, bro, it was just totally unconvincing. That's why it didn't work for me. Like, you know, and it's his farewell tour, so it's like, come on, why are you making him be like that, bro? It's not realistic. It's not cool. It's not any of that.
to light in a table for around about 52 years, as some geeks watched on go, had to light it in 2011. I thought Johnny Boy was great there, but of course poor CM Punk had to light in a table for around about 52 years, as some geeks watched on going, well, why doesn't he just get up? Now listen, you're 100% correct, and it is a fair criticism. I'm also that guy. It's my favorite side of wrestling because it's totally silly. I think most people just saw the John Cena heel turn as an experiment.
I didn't mind him laying down, because I mean, we know what John Cena did the same thing back in the day, so it's like, you know. And John said thank you for selling there or whatever after he cut that promo. But yeah, I mean, bottom line, it's just like, yeah.
We never really pulled the trigger properly, and we've already touched on a lot of those bullet points already.
Yeah.
I'm still always going to say that I'm glad that we did get it, because that night of the Elimination Chamber was brilliant. But yes, if you do go through it with a fine-tooth comb, well, a lot of it does not make any sense. Dives into number 3, John Cena tries being a heel over and over again.
Okay, right? Because I was about to pause it too, but I want to say that, like, I remember, bro, after WrestleMania, right? No, after Elimination Chamber, they went at I think they were at a European country, freaking and then one of the first things he said was, I'm breaking up with you, right? To the fans, right? Say this meaning like, F you guys ain't worth jack. Freaking, I'm not a face, I'm not a heel, I'm a human being. It's just like, yeah. Because at that point, now it's John Cena cracking jokes, bro. It's John Cena cracking jokes. If you see what he's capable of doing, right, in the public eye, like in media, whatever, he's a silly dude. So to me, I just see it as this guy cracking jokes. I'm just like, I don't know how you can like this, bro, honestly. He's a hell of a performer, and maybe he probably did try, but I just see it as him cracking jokes, bro. It was just ridiculous.
So after he had gone bad guy, John Cena walked out on the following night's Raw and said that he was in an abusive relationship because the fans throughout his career had been horrible to him.
Cracking jokes.
He was telling the truth. You go back 15 years or so, my gosh, the audience did not like him. Now,
and that's true, yeah. But I mean, again, that statement alone, he's cracking jokes.
Honestly, people were happy to bat this back because if John Cena had done this in 2018, it would have made sense. But in 2025, during his retirement tour, well, WWE often cut to people in the crowd, and they were crying because they loved Jonathan Cena so much. Now, of course, you can argue that he was the villain, so he wants to remember what people were doing a decade ago. That does make sense, but it also sort of felt like we were actively fighting the fans. You never want to do that. It also brought up a bunch of questions that were never really answered, like was he embittered by what Cody Rhodes was doing? Is that the reason he did turn heel and now he had a thirst for violence? And was he about to reveal that this was the last acts of a desperate man? He knows the finale is in sight. He's even booked a retirement tour, so he does have to win that world title even though he's lost a step. Now, Cena did lean into that side a little.
You see, okay, I'm glad he said that part, he lost the step. Alright, so, number one. Now, he managed to survive an Elimination Chamber, granted with the decision of Seth Rollins, who hit the curb stomp on CM Punk, and then John tapped him out. Alright, cool. When you move like ass, and you're wrestling like trash, at the main of WrestleMania, it's too unrealistic for him to beat Cody Rhodes, even with him cheating, right? Kicking him in the balls and boom. Cody Rhodes still had an advantage throughout the night because that's my thing. Like even at any time, a guy who's past his prime, and you ended up winning that big time match, it's just too off for me, bro. Cause it's not real. And John, it's not like John is a giant. He's a normal sized human being for a WWE wrestler. Like no way are you gonna get the overall prime Cody Rhodes. That's unreal. Even if you did cheat, right? But he didn't cheat too hard. I don't remember the match right now, but maybe he did do some dirty antics. But it wasn't enough to beat Cody Rhodes, bro. Right? He hit him with he hit him with the balls and then hit him with the belt. But I mean, come on. And never mind a big time match. We're talking about world championship match. Like Cody Rhodes is the guy to beat, and then you lose to John Cena. He had the belt for over a year. Lose to a guy who clearly lost the step. It's just too realistic. And then extend is off the storyline. But it's just overall it's freaking whack. And people know, and it's not like this is a secret. John been moving like ass since he came back. Freaking like the last few times. To me, he should never won that 17 championship at Mania. It's not well deserved, bro. It's not well deserved. Freaking not from a storyline perspective or even a form of legitimacy. It's just not well deserved.
But we never made it the center point of the whole thing, which yes, once again made it more confusing.
And also like the heel turn too. Like he basically saying the fans is the reason why John Cena went rogue. That was his thing. Like the constant like animosity like eventually got to him, and that's what made him finally crack. I guess that was the picture that John was painting. But yeah.
A little bit, but we never made it the central point of the whole thing, which yes, once again made it more confusing. Given the dates as well, often Cody Rhodes and John Cena had to do this alone, and that was going to be the big feud that paid off at SummerSlam. And while they did have some great back and forth on the microphone, I think there's a lot of you out there right now that just never thought it hit the heights that it should have done. I think I know the reason why. It's because John Cena never had that specific direction. We were kind of booking it as we went. Number 2,
Yeah.
what the flub happened to R-Truth?
Man.
When R-Truth got released in 2025, I was genuinely stunned. I was actually at my own wrestling show about to have a match, and because I was so mad about this, I went on social media and did a tweet. Yeah, that will show WWE. Well, as it turned out, lots of people went on social media, did a tweet, and the backlash got so bad, or good I suppose, if you want to look at it that way, WWE realized this was a stupid idea, and Ron Killings was hired back. Now, it's important to say the name Ron Killings, because for a few weeks he was back to his old character. He shaved his head. My gosh, he came across like a badass. Even felt like he wanted the United States title.
Yes.
A couple of matches with John Cena too, and actually wanted revenge on John for being so horrible to him. When Cena went back babyface, and from nowhere, like a magical man had clicked their fingers, Ron Killings had gone back to R-Truth. Now, I will tell you that he is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, so I was kind of psyched about this. Why can't we have the dual personalities? I mean, that's a gimmick that he's been leaning into for years.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. And we just forgot that Ron Killings was being Ron Killings, and he was R-Truth again, doing the funny. And I want to double down on this. You know me. I'm still the same OG, and I love the funny.
Yeah.
But we had this whole brand new direction we could go in, based on fans' outpouring of love. We just flushed it down the toilet. I assume the WWE just felt like it had all calmed down, so they didn't want to do something the fans had forced them to do. But it is such a damn shame. You'd have to imagine that this is going to be R-Truth's last big run in WWE.
Yeah.
So we could have just given him a few months of programming. Instead, we did this. Now look, he's still going to make me laugh when he does do the whole goofy wrestling for life bit, which I do enjoy.
Yeah.
But there was so much more here, man, and we did not take advantage.
Yeah.
Number 1, origins of NXT. Now, I cannot lie, I don't often get to talk about NXT, but it is one of my favorite promotions on the planet.
Really?
Do you want to know why, slap your head?
Let me hear
Because
this.
nothing makes sense, and they do whatever the flub they want. And I really do think this is because Shawn Michaels has been told that he needs to grow the product, and the best way to do that is to kind of use it as an experimental ground.
Yeah.
If you do come up with a fun idea, you can likely get away with it in NXT. There's probably less red tape to go through.
Yeah.
This was proven even further when WWE announced their deal with AAA, when basically we started doing all these Worlds Collide shows, and NXT superstars would go to AAA and vice versa. They even went after their titles. This also started to happen with TNA as well, and actually I think WWE is about to change this one, because the big battle between NXT and TNA is about to kick off. It's just hilarious how sometimes Joe Hendry will be going after the TNA World Championship on TNA, and then he'll be appearing in a fridge in NXT. Then Ash by Elegance comes back, and she obviously used to be there as Dana Brooke. Then Moose is here, there, and everywhere. Nobody actually explains who does book this, or how they are able to go through their own forbidden door, but my gosh, is it entertaining. I think if you remember that NXT is being treated as sort of like the little brother of Raw and SmackDown, it's totally fine. But yeah, if you were going to write this down in a book and try and make a story out of it, nobody would be able to understand it because it's totally insane. And that is one reason why some
I'll
people
give
can't
them
get
that.
into
Yeah.
NXT as well as the over-the-top characters. But in a world where I get this much wrestling every single day, keep giving it to me, please. It actually makes me laugh out loud. It is so damn wacky. Not many other WWE booking moments in 2025 when all of a sudden it kind of stopped making sense. Well, please do drop us a comment below before you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You can also click the video on the screen to get even more.
Yeah, I mean, that was a cool video. NXT, there have been some elements of NXT where they adapted into the main roster. There was times when NXT freaking they would do promos. No, not even promo. They would do skits backstage, but it would be more than it'd be more like cutscenes more than anything. Like it's them, right, talking at a diner or at a park or somewhere outside that's outside the performance of the performance center, right, and just like. I guess they're using different kind of camera, different lightings or whatever, and they try to make it seem like, you know, like it remind us that it's a TV show. So they're outside the building and they're just at wherever setting that they're at. They adapted that into the main roster, but they only did it a couple of times, if that. Like the whole, I remember Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns was talking, right? When they were becoming tag team partners, they were talking at Georgia's Tech football arena. Freaking so they were using special cameras or whatever they're using to make it look better than it actually appeared or whatever, right? The dramatic moment, the dramatic scene, freaking like a cutscene type thing, right? The woman mid-card championship, they brought that to NXT first. It seemed like it was an experiment or whatever, and then they brought it to the main roster, which they should have never done to begin with. Even for NXT, I still don't like it. I think it's a waste. But they showcase more women on that brand more than anything, which I guess is cool. I think it's more women in the woman brand freaking than there is in the main roster for Raw and SmackDown respectively. I don't know about altogether, but especially Raw and SmackDown. Thank you for watching. Peace. I'm out.